Hey, y'all. Hopefully you can hear me okay. I'm just winging it as usual, so I don't know. I'm gonna try and find some light and see if I can do this without squinting. I'm just by the pool, so excuse the bathing suit and whatnot. But I had this, I've had this on my heart for a minute, and I wanted to share. And I'm gonna talk somewhat low volume, even though I'm here on my own. Want to make sure I'm not, blasting from the rooftops so other guests can enjoy as well. So I wanted to chat about this concept of now's not the right time. And this is coming from conversations that my team and I have been having with people for years, really. But in particular, over the last few months, I feel like the now's not the right time has come up a lot. And this can be applied to a million different things. By the way, if we haven't met yet, if you're just popping on, if you're watching the replay, my name is Sylvia McCracken and I help health professionals create their online courses. So would love to hear, if we haven't met yet, what type of health professional you are. Drop it in the comments below. Would love to hear. This whole now's not the right time thing can apply to business, personal life, buying a house, having a baby, getting married, starting a business, writing a book, 6 million other things, right? Specifically today, I'm talking about, obviously what we help health professionals with, which is creating online programs, really taking their one-on-one, taking their practice online and replacing it not with a one-on-one practice. I'm going to walk a little bit, move a little bit, not with a one-on-one practice, but with a group program, with an online course, with something that replaces their one-on-one with one-to-many. And oftentimes, in these conversations, of course, we have a whole application process to make sure that it's a good fit. Of course, if you're interested and if you are a health professional, I will put, or someone on my team will put the link below, which is just sylviamccracken.com/apply if you'd like to learn more about our program on how we do this. But assuming, it's a good fit, assuming this is a health professional that has a lot to offer, that, is an expert in their field, whether it is, psychology, whether it is a chiropractor, an acupuncturist, a naturopathic doctor, a million other things, we get to talking about, doing this process, about, creating these results, about taking your intellectual property. I like to call this the gold necklaces that you've got in your head and really untangling them so that they can be more valuable, right? So that they're usually, you have incredible knowledge, incredible expertise, just talking to my health professionals out there. And usually it's just tangled, right? It's like gold necklaces that are tangled, very valuable, but very tangled. And the first step is really to untangle them and make sense of them, make sure that it's something that can be sold, something that can be positioned, something that people want, something that can sell, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But once we get through all of that, once we get through that process, 9 times out of 10, what ends up happening is, this sort of timing thing comes up, this sort of timing issue in terms of like, oh, you know what, like, the catch-22 of you're coming to us, you want to do this business model specifically because you don't have a lot of time, right? Because your one-on-one practice doesn't give you the freedom, doesn't give you the location freedom, the time freedom to do what you want. And here's the bad news. The bad news is, that you have to carve out a little bit more time on top of, a lot of times, on top of at least a 40-hour work week that you're already running, and sometimes worse. Sometimes it's an 80-hour work week that you're already running. And, we're asking you, hey, carve out another 3 hours per week at least, and 3 quality hours so that you can create this thing. And so, of course, probably not surprisingly, that's when, we get some hemming and hawing of like, well, maybe in the fall, maybe in January, maybe in insert whatever month you'd like there. Now, I get it. First of all, I so get it. I so get it, because anytime, and I'm, a human being doing the same exact things, I'm not immune to any of this, and I find myself doing that with things that are difficult and new and hard for me as well. Things that I share this with my clients all the time. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. But here is the challenge. So the not now thing, right, which is now's not the right time. The fall will be better when the kids are back in school, or January will be better when, I don't know, insert magic thing that will happen here, right? The challenge is that, if that were the case, right? Like if it was a 3-month pause on like, let's hit the pause button, things are really, really complicated right now. And about 1 out of 10 times, that really, really is the thing. Like I've got a client right now who is closing on a house, for example, right? And literally, I mean, financially speaking, you know how it is. For those of you that have bought a house before, the lender will be like, don't even buy a chewing gum until this process is closed. So it's like, absolutely, right? Makes sense to hit the pause button. Here's the thing though, 9 times out of 10, when we hear this sort of not now for whatever reason, including that one, or whether it's time, or whether it's, you know, kids, or whether it's spouse, or, you know, related, or retiring, or traveling, or summer plans, or holidays, or whatever it might be, the challenge is that the not now, with all the best intentions, and I would love confessions if this is you, you know I love a confession, would love confessions if this is you, you know, becomes never. And, you know, and that's for a million different reasons. Either curveballs get, you know, thrown, like life happens, things that have nothing to do with you. You have the best intentions in the world. You've certainly, you know, had every plan to do it September 9th or whatever it might be. And then, you know, what happens, you know, what hits the fan. So, and here's where there's the tough love approach. And for those of you that know me a little bit, know that this is kind of the only way I can communicate, the only mode, the only pre-installed setting I came with is sort of the tough love approach. And I do that, and I by the way, I'm speaking to myself in addition to speaking to you, is really I want you to be honest with yourself, right? Because there's like, we have, you know, like whatever it is that you're deciding, whether it is buying a house, getting married, having a baby, starting a business, writing a book, insert any other goal here, it's really up to you. Like you are the, you know, designer of your timeline. You are the one, you're the ultimate boss as to when that gets to happen, other than the universe and life and whatever the curveballs get thrown your way. So I'm not here to tell you you're wrong, right? I'm not here to tell you, you know, that you have to do it today, right? I can tell you statistically speaking, I can tell you what I've seen over time, I can tell you trends, I can tell you facts and logic, you know, such as the sooner you start, the sooner you're gonna make money, all those different things, but you're ultimately the boss. But here's where I want you to self-coach. Here's what I want you to be really, really honest with yourself. And I have to do this, I have to have conversations with myself, myself and I have conference calls on this, of like, is it gonna become never? Like, are you actually gonna do it? If you don't do it now, when are you gonna do it? Like for real, for real. Like, are you gonna put it on the calendar? Are you gonna make that commitment? Do you have the accountability? Do you have the plan? Do you have the time carved out in your calendar? Do you know how you're gonna do it? So, you know, again, tough questions to have with yourself. And the answers to that might be, yep, 100%, awesome. Again, that happens 1 out of 10 times. So I want you to be really, really honest with yourself and really think about that, really look into that, really dive. That's what I want to do. Cool. Like that's totally and completely fine. But let's call it that. Let's not trick ourselves, you know, and give ourselves this sort of pacifier of sorts of like, yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to get to that. I'm going to get to that later. If you know you're not going to do it. If your track record shows that this has been a goal that you've had for 10 years and you're still not taking action on it, right? So anyway, again, I love confessions. If you're popping on this late, would love for you to watch, you know, from the start as well. And I'd love to hear if this resonates. I always love hearing if you're picking up what I'm putting down, and would love to know, like, you know, and I'm always happy to actually have these conversations too, in terms of like, what's an actual real deal, you're absolutely right, you shouldn't do it right now type of thing. And what can you do? What's the kind of compromise if that's the case, right? If there is a real deal, like, something is happening that today, this month, I can't jump in, I can't do it, or it doesn't make sense for me to do that. Cool. And what's that compromise? Like, when would it make more sense? And what can we do so that it doesn't accidentally become never? Intentionally becoming never, no problem, right? Like intentionally quitting, no problem. If you decide you want to be a triathlete and then you do that for a few months and then you're like, you know what, this life ain't for me, cool, right? But it's like an intentional quitting, not oh, I'm just not going to train this week, and then next week, I'm just not going to train this week either, oh, and then the following week, oh, I'm just not gonna, and then all of a sudden 10 years have gone by, right? So that's the part that sort of gets me. Anyway, this now not becoming never, not now becoming never is a hell of a drug. It's a hell of a phenomenon, and I wanted to really have this conversation. I really wanted to start this conversation. I haven't been on Facebook Live in, I don't know, approximately a million years. Haven't been in the sun since December. So I think the Irish part of my half Irish, half Italian is gonna tell me to go inside in a second, so I'm gonna wrap this up. But we'd love to hear, what are your excuses around timing? What are your legitimate reasons around timing in terms of something that you really have on your heart that you wanna do? And what is the real reason that you're not able to do it now? Why are you not able to start now? Right? And if you're open to some feedback, let me know. If you're open to some coaching, of course, if you're a client of mine and you're seeing this, you already know you're gonna get the coaching. And if you're not, let me know if you're open to some feedback and open to a conversation on that, because we'd love to brainstorm, like, okay, cool, like maybe you're not able to dive with 2 feet or head first into the deep end, pun intended. But what can you do? Like, what can you set up? Whether it's, even if it's something as small as, can you start working on carving out that time? Can you start working on streamlining your schedule? What is the biggest, thing that's holding you back schedule-wise? I just was having this conversation with a friend of mine who is working a ton of hours and has a hobby that they're leaning into that's also taking a ton of time, and then wants to start a business. And I was like, homie, I hate to break it to you, but but something's gonna have to give a little bit, right? Either that or sleep, right? You're gonna have to find a way to do this on no sleep, which is obviously not possible. So anyway, again, know that the tough love is in every area of my life. I go around having these conversations. Would love to hear from you. Of course, if you are a health professional, if you want to create an online course, would love to have you apply for our Courses for Health Professionals program. I'm gonna put the link in the comments below, sylviemccracken.com/apply, and we'll have a conversation and see if it's a fit and if it's something that makes sense for you to do, and then of course timing wise, it doesn't make sense for you to do now as well. All right, for now I'm gonna go ahead and say goodbye, and I'll see you on the next Facebook Live.